Well, let's wait for a few people to join here as we're getting more and more people building an audience. All right. I think we're good to go. Anyways, hello kittens. It is my 6th day of quarantine. And I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not easy. But I think this is my 5th straight consecutive live streaming, but somebody told me maybe it's not. So maybe somebody out there knows. I actually don't remember. Although it's my 6th day, I know I didn't do it the first day. I think I did it the second day, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I hope everybody's good. I am. Let's see, who do we have here? We got people from Hungary and France, San Francisco. Nice. We have Ukraine. Fantastic. Iowa. And BC. Parma, Ohio. Fantastic. England. North Carolina. Oh, good. We're covering our bases. Rochester. Fantastic. Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Omaha. My sister lives in Omaha. Tell her I said hi. Anyway, and bonjour. Bonjour from France. Serbia. This is fantastic. I wish I could reach out. I wish I could go to all these destinations right now. Anyway, it is day number 6. The challenges of being in a 14-day hotel quarantine where the windows don't open, I can't even tell you. They're genuinely challenging. Nonetheless, I am determined to get through this, and it may sound really melodramatic, but I'm actually looking at previous examples of solitude, like prisoners of war, who clearly had to deal with a lot more. So there I am. I'm saying to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm complaining about being in a nice hotel in Toronto, and I have a view. And then I was thinking, well, did John McCain, crack? Apparently not. So I guess my point is, I'm not fighting a war, though. That's the problem. I'm not actually fighting a war. Well, you know what? I am fighting a war. I'm fighting a war. We are all fighting this war. Anyways, today is a special day. Because today, my middle son, Truman, turns 18. And in addition to being what I think is now a legal adult, he gets to collect a little bit of his money that he has saved in what's known as a Coogan account. So in the entertainment business, if you go to do a commercial or anything like that, film, TV, commercials, when you're underage, they have a mandatory thing where you have to put a certain percentage in a bank account that nobody can touch, the kids or the parents, and when the kid turns 18, he can have the money. And the reason this is called the Coogan account is because there was an actor named Jackie Coogan, who I believe was with the Little Rascals or something like that. Somebody will know. Anyways, he worked for years and years as a kid actor, and then when he turned, I think, 21 or something, he found out that his parents had taken all of his money. Because parents are, questionable. But, and so, unfortunately, he ended up with no money, so they did make a rule. And I think parents are allowed to take up to 20%. And, of course, I didn't, but maybe I should. Maybe I should. So, anyways, he's happy. He has a little bit of bonus cash, and things are good, and he's turning into a fine young man. He's in New York City, wandering around, doing his online schooling, and I have to say, online schooling is tough. I don't know about you guys, but for those of us who could not sit still online schooling is even harder. It genuinely is difficult. So, anyway, I want to get back to what I was saying. I'm going to answer questions if people have questions, but then I'm going to tell you about a few things. I told you this yesterday. Yesterday, it was very interesting. I have to order food and get things delivered. As it turns out, I was not able to deliver, or there was some people that can't get up. They can't get buzzed up, and they don't want to. You know, they're in a car. They just want to drop stuff off, and you have to go down and pick it up. And I went down and picked it up, and I got a message saying that it has been reported that I left the building. That's kind of spooky and Orwellian. Now, I'm all down. I get the rules and all that stuff, but my God, the idea that somebody's spying on me is a little bit, I think it's a little unnerving. It's very Orwellian. And I don't know. It just it just made me uneasy. But I think I'm going to let that one go. So, anyway, let's see what we got going today. What do we have? Somebody's working on their degree. Well, that's fantastic. Everybody's saying happy birthday to Truman, which is fantastic. Gallivanting. Oh, that's funny. Gallivanting. If only I could gallivant. You can't really gallivant in a small room. Gallivanting, in my mind, requires a large space to gallivant. Anyways, but I do like that word. Now, let's see. Let's see what we got here, if I can answer a question. Where would you like to live in 20 or 30 years? I'd like to live on Earth. Yeah, provided we still have one. Oh, that sounds so cynical. No, we're going to have one. I'm not worried about that. Let's see what else we got here. Hello, Turkey. Let's see. Would you like to come visit Serbia when COVID is over? I would absolutely like to visit Serbia. It's a beautiful place. I mean, I've been to a few places there, and I would be happy to come back and check that out. And let's see. How are you filling your time, and how do you like your coffee? Well, the coffee actually came from downstairs. The coffee I make is crap. It's just pure crap, so I'm not drinking it. I'm kind of, here's the thing. Cooking for myself is really oddly depressing. I don't mind cooking for other people. I'm not really that great of a cook. I'm an okay cook. And the quarantine, not this quarantine, but the one that started back in March or April, it forced me to actually cook instead of going out all the time. And I was surprised that I was actually decent. And that's different because I was cooking for the kids. Now I'm not cooking. And cooking for myself, I just find a little depressing. I'm just wondering at what point I actually have an imaginary friend. What? Yeah, I'm talking about you. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I won't mention you. Okay, anyway. So I have to have an imaginary friend. How long will you take you to find Newman? I don't know what you mean by that, but I won't be able to see Newman until like the 22nd of October. It's very hard. It's a very long wait. Oh, bake a cake. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, yes. Thank you. I'm not much of a baker either. I surprisingly don't eat that much. So, have I seen Transplant with Tori Higgins? No, I have not. Should I? I guess I should. Let's see. My dream car to own. I kind of have my dream car. I like it. E63 wagon. Smoking fast. But I would go with a Sprinter van. That would be my dream car. I want a Sprinter van. Decked out with all sorts of stuff. Hello, Germany. Decked out with everything I can. That's what I want. Sports equipment there. It says Momoa seems to be going nuts. Yeah, I mean, God. And by the way, he's got space. So Jason's going nuts, I guess, but has actual space, like a yard and different rooms and people to help. I mean, I'm just, it's just really weird. Let's see. What else do we have here? What are we going to do? Have you been doing any writing lately? Yes, I've been waking up and writing every day, and then I write again in the afternoon. I'm trying to stick to some kind of a schedule, but it's surprisingly difficult. So somebody sent me an article yesterday about the term called acedia, which I found kind of interesting. And acedia is like a kind of a malaise that beset monks in monasteries that had so much isolation. They were suffering from maybe a lack of interaction or something, but it's not sloth and laziness, because that's different. But acedia is almost kind of like a dissonance or something. And I thought it was really interesting to hear that, because I think everybody, I mean, what I'm doing is a little more extreme, obviously, than what everybody else is having to do. However, we're all in this really funky place where we're disconnected from everybody and we're stuck in our homes and life isn't normal. And check it out. It's acedia, A-C-E-D-I-A, I believe. I think that's how you spell it. There are a few different definitions, but the common definition is not really correct, at least from this article. And I recommend people check that out. Hello, Russia. Hello from Russia. Another person from Russia. Fantastic. I bet you guys haven't seen your leader either, because he's in a bunker. Where did I learn French? Well, I studied at the Sorbonne for a year, and that helped. Let's see. I wish I could press pause on this. Sometimes it goes so fast. Do I have any other animals apart from Newman? Yeah, I have 3 boys, of course. You and Jason should do a remake of The Odd Couple. Which one would I be? Okay. Hello, Ireland. Well, somebody asked me an interesting question about the animals. Oh, we can go back to that. So, I grew up in this farmy, ranchy kind of place. And I can't tell you how many animals we had, but it was a lot. I'm going to say that we had, easily, I'm going to say we easily had like 25 different species of animals. And I think that's being safe. And they were golden pheasant to Scottish Highland cattle. We had the Grand Champion Texas Longhorn steers, skunks, ferrets, pigs, potbelly pigs. And I grew up with all these crazy animals. I was like Dr. Seuss. And, weird things would happen. And, for example, I would have to, irrigate. When you grow up out there, I had to do a lot of manual labor, and I really should make my kids do the same thing. Nonetheless, I'm out in the field irrigating, and it was very odd because I did not really grow until college. I was a pretty small kid, and a longhorn steer would come up, and my God, their horns could just rip you apart. But the meanest animals were the rheas and emus. And they were aggressive, and I had to kind of smack them to get back and stuff. And I realized what an interesting and bizarre way it was to grow up, because one day I was looking up, and what I saw was a monkey in diapers on a fence post. And what had happened is that the adjoining ranch, we were part of an existing ranch, and we split it in 2, but the adjoining ranch had been sold to the U.S. government, where they conducted experiments to teach chimpanzees how to talk. Now, for those who have gone to school and studied these things, they'll know there's a famous monkey called Washoe. And Washoe was apparently the first chimpanzee who could communicate, and that's where Washoe was from, like literally, from where I live. Like literally, part of the same ranch. And occasionally they would get out, and they were mean, and they were difficult. And I knew they were mean, so I just kind of sat there, and I really didn't know what to do. And I had to get somebody to come and get him because he was also freaking out all the other animals. Now, this is just one of, I was nonplussed. This was like not a big deal. This is just like something that would happen. But we would get phone calls, and the phone calls would say things like, for example, excuse me, do you happen to have any ostriches or rheas? And we would say, yeah. Well, they're in my front yard terrorizing my family. So we'd have to go get in the car and go over there and try to rescue these things. Now, you have to understand that they're very hard to catch, and they have really strong legs. And, you got to like that's why they use those gaucho things. And we would have to do this occasionally because sometimes people would crash into our fence, and obviously we wouldn't know about it until the next day when the animals were out. And it was a series of funny little animal things that always took place. And I just felt like I wanted to have a normal life, and I wanted to not do so much manual labor. So I was always looking a way to cut corners. So one day, I had to row a canoe out to this little island on this pond, and I had to weed it. And I just thought it was a pain. And we had a couple rabbits that I thought, they're in a cage. Why not? Stick them on the island. I won't have to go there. I won't have to weed. They're happy. They're free. They got water. They got food. It's a perfect situation. So what I did is I stuck the rabbits on the island, and to my surprise, it was a perfectly successful situation. Now, I made sure it wasn't a male and a female, so we were good. And it was very smart, and I felt very clever about this. I then went away to school, and I came back what I think is probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months later or something like that. And I was having breakfast, and as I'm eating, I'm looking out, and I see the rabbit. Boing, and I see the other rabbit. I'm like, cool. They're still good. They're still happy. But then I see another rabbit, and I'm like, and another rabbit, another rabbit, another rabbit. There were about 30 rabbits on the island. And I was mystified because I didn't stick anything but 2 females out there. So what had happened is that somebody had come along, and knowing that my mom takes in just about any type of animal imaginable, she took in a rabbit that was a male rabbit and stuck it on the island. And consequently, there was a population explosion. Now, at the same time, we had I think we had 3 St. Bernards and 3 Swiss Alpine Meadow dogs. Now, those are big dogs, 6 dogs, sitting on the shore of the pond and staring at the island, which is only like 40 feet away. It's not very far away. And they are salivating, like literally salivating. And now they can't really swim, so this is a deep frustration for them. And, finally it just got too much. And one dog jumped in, and then they all jumped in. And needless to say, it did not end well for the rabbits, because rabbits don't really swim either. And I hate to have a sad ending to a bunny story, but that is a somewhat sad ending to the bunny story. That I actually call it Watership Down. And that's just one animal story. I'll regale you with an animal story every day. How's that? And maybe they'll be a little less tragic, or maybe not. Anyway, so that was that situation. I'm ready to answer some more questions. Tell us about your career plans. What am I, a kid? I mean, I think I have a career. Well, we can call acting a career or not. I don't know. Anyways, let's see. What do we have next here? Let's see what we have. What is your worst bad habit? Well, that's a good question. So I think there's 2 things. There's like the worst bad habit I have, and then there's a worst bad habit that probably affects other people. My worst bad habit that affects other people is probably appearing to be aloof, appearing to not listen, but I'm in fact listening. But I have this weird kind of floaty quality sometimes where it appears that I'm not listening and I'm not paying attention, and I'm working on that. And I'm receptive to the criticism I've gotten, because sometimes I do space out. I do. So I'm working on that. My other worst bad habit is, let's see. Well, I don't know if it's a habit, but honestly, it's my inability to focus sometimes. Like sometimes that's tough. It really does. It makes me a little bit crazy. I vacillate from being hyper focused to not being focused at all. One habit I'm trying to break is that I've read so many books, and many of them I haven't finished. Like many of them, I get 2/3 of the way through, and I'm like, I don't know. I either lose interest or I don't know what happens. It's very odd. I have to stop that. But I think that's a really good question. So let's see. What do we have? Have you been in Toronto before? I have been to Toronto many times, in pretty much every weather condition, and and I would say that it is. I like shooting in Toronto. I've never had to stay in a hotel room for 14 straight days, so this is a new one. Anyways, what does this say? What's next here? What have you read? Have you read What Unites Us? No, I have not read What Unites Us, but it sounds like very clever. It's a good book for now, that's for damn sure. My God, it's just so surreal. When is this? When is this gonna end? This madness. It's just. It feels like a bad movie we're all stuck in, right? It really does. I can't wait for things to go back to normal. When do you guys think things are going to go back to normal? I'm going to say this. I think by spring, things are going to start getting back to normal. I think enough people will be introduced to potentially a vaccine, but also maybe we'll get a handle on things. And then maybe next summer, things will be normal again. Will they ever be normal? I don't know. Will they be normal enough? I think so. But boy, I think we are living through a very strange time. And I feel bad for the kids who are having to do online schooling because it is a nightmare. Let's see. Who else do we have? What is normal? Well, that is a complex philosophical question, sir. And I'd love to go into that, but I might lose my audience. Let's see what else. What else we got here? Well, the thing you guys asked some, music. Well, I'm not going to answer that. I already answered that. I'm sorry. I like all sorts of music. Let's see what's next here. Who would your dream quarantine partner be? Well, I've never thought of it like that, but I'm going to just be honest with you. Newman. If I had Newman here, everything would be fine. I'm going to say if I had Newman here, I might not even do the live streaming because I might not need to do anything. I might not need any contact. I'd be fine. Literally, a dog. And, there's a dog park across the street, and I was thinking about having somebody put up a sign there saying, does anybody need free dog sitting? There's a guy across the street stuck in a hotel room who would be happy to dog sit for you while you're away at work. And then I thought, people are going to just think that I'm some creepy dude. So I don't think that would work out too well. But literally, I would love to have just some kind of an animal, something. So I would love that. Anyways, next question. What is it here? I have to say, gentlemen and ladies, that this is going so fast. Sometimes it's hard to read. How would the characters you play deal with being in quarantine? Well, I think that they would all self-destruct. Yeah. And I may self-destruct, so it could all go hand in hand. It could be very, as I think that it becomes less entertaining, it may in fact become more entertaining for you because you're realizing that I'm losing my grip. But I tell you what I miss is I miss being able to talk to people. Like, I'm not really much of a phone guy. I don't really like talking on the phone that much sometimes. because I'm hyper and I'm always doing things and I don't want to sit and talk. However, now that I have time, I find myself calling people, and I realize that they're not in quarantine. They may not want to sit and talk as long as I do. So that's been a little frustrating. But that's just the way it goes, you know. Poor little Joe. All right. Anyways, let's see what's next here. What do we have? What do we have? Okay. Do I know the North Caucasus? I do not know the North Caucasus. I have not been there. Get Jason to do a live Instagram. You know what? I'll try it. We'll talk. Well, maybe we can do this together. Who knows? Who knows? How come Newman didn't come with me? Well, let me tell you, it's so hard to get a dog into this country under the current circumstances. But what it really is, and I asked about this. I said, well, so if I had a dog, how would I get him out to go to the bathroom? And they don't have answers. Let me just tell you right off the bat. This is improvisational. They have rules that say I can go dump the garbage, but then I can't leave the room. But nobody's going to pick up the garbage, so I have to actually leave my room to dump the garbage. So they just haven't thought this thing out, and I understand. It's complicated. But as far as the dog goes, it's a damn good question. And then I thought to myself, what if somebody smokes? Like, I guess they go into a smoking room? Maybe they go into a smoking room. Anyways, I've asked for permission there's a rooftop deck that if I could just go up there once or twice a day, that would be great. And I think I'm pretty sure they've said no. Oh, somebody's knocking on the door. Hold on. Put the mask on. Well, kittens, I'm back. I got a package. It's so exciting. Those balls, like, okay, whatever this is. What do they call this that we're going to exercise with? I got one of those, and then I don't know what this is. Oh, I know what this is. It's a yoga mat. I just got a yoga mat delivered to me. Wow, that may be the peak experience today, and it's all kind of a denouement now. Now I may just have to it's almost too much excitement to handle. I mean, if they deliver 2 packages to me, I am screwed. So anyways, this might be a glimpse into me as a retired human being bothering my kids. I could just see myself calling like 2 or 3 times a day, hey, Truman, Fergus, what are you doing? And they're just like, Jesus Christ, Dad, go do the crossword puzzle. Anyways, I'm so glad you guys are patient. You're hanging out and watching me like do all this stuff. So yeah, I'm going to try to do a little yoga. Am I talking to myself yet? You damn right I am. I think I was talking to myself before this. I'm talking to myself even more. Did I get a stationary bike? No, the stationary bike's supposed to come tonight. Another interesting thing. They said that I can get like a yoga mat and a ball, maybe some dumbbells, but I can't get a bike. And I was like, okay, why? And they go, because it's against quarantine rules to deliver anything. I was like, well, I mean, you're delivering food, you're delivering other things. Why can't you deliver that? I mean, it was literally like, of course they can. It's just, it's monumentally moronic if you apply logic. But you have to understand that people don't apply logic. People just they just read stuff off papers. I mean, that's really the problem with today, is that most people you ask questions, they're not thinking. They just kind of just do things. And so you have to kind of power through it and say, well, you could always leave the bike at the front door and I can pull it in. And they were like, hey, you're right, we could do that. That's what we do with everything else, so that's what we can probably do. So I'm really Joe Flanigan's Sanity Watch. Okay, that's actually a good name for this. I'm going to. Am I allowed beers? Yes, I'm allowed beers. They pay for everything but alcohol. Yeah. So, anyways, I do have beer, but I got to say, I like drinking with people. Sadly, I'm not like a loner drunk. I'm like more of a social drunk. So, I haven't really been drinking much. Do you see anyone of this delivery, or did they just disappear on you? Good question. I always open up the door. Nobody's there. Poof, a package. Even like the coffee. And it's like they run away. Like literally run away. Like I'm a pariah. I'm like, they treat you like you have the virus. Now that's fine. I guess we should all do that, like we have the virus. But not only do I not have the virus, I've been tested twice now. And I take another test tomorrow. I'm probably the safest person like in Canada. And yet I have to go through this. And I understand. I understand. I'm venting. I'm not bitching. And maybe this is the way it works so that people can function and keep businesses open, and that's cool. So I'm not going to complain about that. But there is a better way to do this. There's a better way to do this. And I think that a lot of times you just have bureaucrats like creating these rules, and they're not thinking about the deep inconvenience of it because they're not affected by it. So they just do it. And if they thought about it, maybe they would. But anyways, do I have a sweet tooth? You know what? I probably do, but I'm doing pretty good right now. I don't. It's shocking to me how little I've eaten. I'm just not that hungry. Like yesterday, I had breakfast, made scrambled eggs, and then I didn't eat until dinner. And I wasn't really even that hungry for dinner. And I think it's just because I'm not burning things, so I guess I'm just not that hungry. So the concept of overeating and over drinking, which is always a potential pitfall for people, is apparently not my issue. My issue is mostly like probably trying to crawl out of a window that doesn't open, or talking to my yoga ball. Actually, I'm going to draw a face on him. I'm going to make him my friend. We will be friends forever. Anyway, so let's go back to this. Favorite ice cream flavor? It's Rocky Road. Duh. Everybody's Rocky Road. Come on, Rocky Road. From Russia, North Caucasus. We like that. Okay. My edible friend. Wait, your question just passed by. Who is my favorite actor? Well, that's an interesting question. Here's what I'm going to say. My favorite actor, probably hands down, is Paul Newman. And that is actually why I named my dog Newman. Newman had blue eyes, and we often call him the Newmans. So when you're doing a close-up, they show the Newmans. But Paul Newman, his body of work is kind of unrivaled. I mean, he did so much good work, and he's really not bad at really anything. He didn't really make too much bad stuff. And if you look at his body of work in the entirety of his career, and he was married, and he was a good person, and he had this big charity. I mean, I just think he lived a pretty exemplary life, and I like that. And I would have liked to have known him, but I certainly look up to him. And he seems to be I don't know. I'm sure there's people like that still out there, but it's hard to have a long career like that these days with our limited attention spans. Can I receive mails? Well, yeah, I can receive mails when they're sent to the hotel. Paul Newman was a genius and my favorite actor. Okay, cool. We're on the same page. Do I have a pilot's license? No, I don't have a pilot's license. I do not have a pilot's license. I did do some flying lessons, which I had to give up, but I haven't resumed those. And I think they seem to, if I'm not mistaken, kind of look down on it from a life insurance perspective. Call me crazy. When I first started doing Stargate Atlantis, I remember I'm in my trailer and one of the producers came in. He's like, "Hey, how are you? Welcome to British Columbia. It's a beautiful place. There's so much to do here. What do you like to do?" And I was like, God, I mean, everything. I like rock climbing, parachuting, and skateboarding, skiing, snowboarding, wakeboarding, mountain biking. You name it. This is like my heaven. This is so awesome. He's like, "That's amazing. That's great." And the next day, I got a file this thick, which was the insurance claim retainer, saying that I actually need to sign off on all these activities. And all I was left